Imagine holding a tiny 5-cent coin in your hand, something so common that millions of people spend it every day, without a second thought. Now imagine discovering that this same ordinary-looking coin is actually worth hundreds of thousands, or even millions of dollars. It sounds like a fantasy, but for a lucky few collectors, this dream has already become reality. Welcome to the astonishing world of Jefferson Nickels, where small change has quietly turned into life-changing treasure. Since their introduction in 1938, Jefferson Nickels have passed through countless hands, jingled in pockets and vanished into old jars and forgotten drawers. Yet among these everyday coins exist rare dates, secret minting mistakes, and historic wartime issues that have transformed simple nickels into some of the most valuable coins ever sold. During World War II, the U.S. Mint changed the metal composition of nickels to conserve vital resources, accidentally creating some of the most sought-after coins in American history. Even more incredible are the mysterious errors, double strikes, missing mint marks, and off-metal pieces that slipped past quality control and later shocked the numismatic world at major auctions. Some Jefferson Nickels that once bought a piece of candy have now sold for prices high enough to buy luxury cars, houses, or even secure a lifetime of financial freedom. Collectors and investors around the globe are constantly searching rolls of coins, old collections and inherited hoards, hoping to uncover one of these hidden gems. And the most exciting part? Many of these valuable nickels can still be found today, quietly waiting in circulation, tucked away in old boxes or forgotten in family keepsakes. So before you spend that old nickel or overlook a worn-out coin, watch closely. Because in this video, we're revealing the most valuable Jefferson Nickels worth millions, the incredible stories behind them, and exactly why these tiny coins have become legendary treasures. Stay with us. Your next 5-cent coin could be the one that changes everything. The first Jefferson nickel that truly changed the way collectors looked at 5-cent coins comes from the dramatic years of World War II, specifically the 1942 to 1945 wartime Jefferson Nickels. At a time when the entire world was consumed by conflict, the United States faced an urgent shortage of nickel metal, which was essential for manufacturing weapons, armor, and military machinery. To conserve this critical resource, the U.S. Mint made a historic decision to alter the composition of the Jefferson nickel, replacing most of the nickel with a special alloy containing 35% silver, along with copper and manganese. This single decision forever transformed these coins into historical artifacts rather than everyday pocket change. What makes these wartime Jefferson Nickels especially fascinating is the clear visual clue that sets them apart from all other nickels. For the first and only time in U.S. history, the mint mark was placed in an unusually large size above Monticello on the reverse of the coin. This bold design change was not meant to create a collectible, yet it became one of the most important identifiers for collectors decades later. Millions of these coins were struck during the war years, but most were heavily circulated, damaged, or later melted for their silver content, dramatically reducing the number of high-quality survivors. Among these wartime issues, only a handful exist in near-perfect condition, showing razor-sharp details and the highly coveted full steps on Monticello. Coins with fully defined steps indicate an exceptionally strong strike, something extremely difficult to achieve during the rushed wartime production process. Because of this full-step wartime, Jefferson Nickels are extraordinarily rare and can command astonishing prices when they appear on the market. Serious collectors are willing to pay premium amounts for these examples, often pushing prices into the six-figure range. Even more valuable and far rarer are the mysterious minting errors that occurred during this chaotic period. One of the most famous is the 1943 Jefferson Nickel struck on the wrong metal planche. Instead of being struck on the intended silver alloy, this coin was accidentally minted on a different metal blank, creating a freak error that should never have existed. Errors like this are so scarce that only a few examples are known. And when one surfaces at a major auction, it causes a frenzy among elite collectors. Bidding wars can escalate rapidly, with final prices reaching hundreds of thousands of dollars, and in extraordinary cases, approaching million-dollar valuations. What truly elevates the value of these wartime Jefferson Nickels is not just their rarity, but the powerful historical story they carry. These coins were struck during a time of global uncertainty, when resources were scarce and production speed mattered more than perfection. The next Jefferson nickel that stunned collectors and rewrote price records is the legendary 1939 Jefferson Nickel with full steps. At first glance, This coin looks like an ordinary early Jefferson nickel, but hidden within its design is a level of rarity so extreme that it has turned a simple 5-cent piece into one of the most valuable nickels ever sold. This coin comes from the Denver Mint, struck just 1 year after the Jefferson Nickel series was introduced in 1938, during a time when the minting process struggled to produce sharp and fully detailed coins. What makes the 1939 Jefferson Nickel so special is the weakness of its strike. Most coins from this year were produced with poor detail, especially on the reverse of the coin where Thomas Jefferson's home, Monticello, appears. The steps leading up to Monticello are supposed to be clearly separated and sharply defined. But on the vast majority of 1939 nickels, these steps are blurred, flat, or completely merged together. Because of this, finding a coin with fully visible and uninterrupted steps is incredibly rare. Collectors use the term full steps to describe a Jefferson nickel where all the steps of Monticello are clearly defined, with no breaks caused by weak striking or damage. For the 1939 issue, achieving full steps was almost impossible due to worn dies and rushed production. As a result, only a tiny number of examples exist today that meet this strict requirement, especially in high mint state condition. When one of these rare 1939 full steps Jefferson Nickels appears at auction, it immediately becomes the center of attention. Elite collectors understand that this is not just a coin, but a once-in-a-generation opportunity. In top grades with strong luster and perfectly defined steps, these coins have sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars, and record-setting examples have pushed prices into million-dollar territory. The difference between an ordinary 1939 nickel and a full steps example can be the difference between 5 cents and a fortune. What makes this coin even more fascinating is how easily it can be overlooked. To the untrained eye, it looks just like any other old nickel. Many of these coins circulated for decades before anyone realized their potential value. Some may still be hiding today in old collections, estate holdings, or forgotten coin albums, waiting for someone knowledgeable enough to recognize the sharp steps that transform it into a treasure. The 1939 full steps Jefferson Nickel perfectly demonstrates how rarity is not always about low mintage, but about survival and quality. It proves that perfection, even in the smallest details, can elevate a common coin into one of the most valuable nickels in the world. And for collectors, this coin remains a symbol of how patience, knowledge, and a sharp eye can lead to life-changing discoveries. The next Jefferson Nickel that has amazed collectors and reached unbelievable prices is the mysterious and extremely rare 1940 Jefferson Nickel with full steps, especially those struck at the Philadelphia and Denver mints. While the year 1940 may seem ordinary, it hides one of the greatest challenges in the entire Jefferson Nickel series, finding a coin with a truly perfect strike. During this period, the U.S. Mint focused on speed rather than precision, resulting in coins with soft details and weak impressions, particularly on the reverse design. Most 1940 Jefferson Nickels show flat or partially blended steps on Monticello, making fully defined steps exceptionally difficult to find. The metal flow during striking was often uneven, and worn dies further reduced detail. Because of this, coins with uninterrupted, sharply defined steps are incredibly scarce. Collectors value these full steps examples not just for their age, but for the technical perfection they represent in a year, known for poor quality strikes. The rarity becomes even more extreme when these coins survive in high mint state condition, with original luster, clean surfaces, and no marks. Only a handful of 1940 Jefferson Nickels have been certified with full steps in top grades. When such a coin appears at auction, competition is fierce, with advanced collectors and investors bidding aggressively to secure one of the finest known examples. Record-setting sales have proven just how valuable these coins can be. High-grade 1940 full steps Jefferson Nickels have sold for six-figure amounts, and exceptional examples have reached prices that rival the most famous nickels in American history. What once circulated as spare change has become a prize, reserved for elite collections. What makes this coin even more incredible is how easily it can be missed. Without close inspection, a 1940 Jefferson Nickel looks no different from countless others. Many people have unknowingly spent these coins, unaware that the sharpness of the steps could transform a common nickel into a life-changing asset. Even today, collectors continue to search old rolls and inherited collections, hoping to discover one of these rare survivors. The 1940 full steps Jefferson Nickel is a powerful reminder that true rarity often lies in details invisible at first glance. It proves that perfection, preservation, and history together can elevate an everyday coin into a masterpiece worth a fortune. And as we move forward, the next coin on this list becomes even more astonishing. The next Jefferson nickel that truly shocked the numismatic world is the legendary 1941 Jefferson nickel with full steps, particularly those struck at the Denver and San Francisco mints. Although millions of Jefferson nickels were produced in 1941, very few were struck with the sharpness and precision required to qualify as full steps. This makes high-grade examples among the rarest and most valuable coins in the entire series. During the early 1940s, the U.S. Mint struggled with die wear and production pressure, which resulted in weak strikes across many denominations. On most 1941 Jefferson nickels, the steps of Monticello appear blurred, incomplete, or interrupted. Finding a coin where all the steps are clearly separated, with no breaks or flattening, is incredibly difficult. This challenge becomes even greater when the coin must also survive decades without heavy marks, corrosion, or cleaning. Collectors place enormous importance on full steps because they represent near-perfect craftsmanship. In a period when perfection was rare, only a tiny number of 1941 Jefferson nickels have been certified in top mint state grades with full steps, and these examples are fiercely protected by serious collectors. When one enters the market, it often sparks intense bidding wars, as buyers know they may not see another opportunity for years. Auction records show that high-grade 1941 full steps Jefferson nickels have sold for six-figure prices, and the finest known specimens have reached values that few would ever associate with a 5-cent coin. The price difference between an ordinary 1941 nickel and a full steps example can be dramatic, turning a coin worth a few dollars into a piece valued like fine art. What makes this coin especially fascinating is how easily it can still be overlooked. Many 1941 Jefferson nickels remain tucked away in old albums, estate collections, and forgotten boxes, never examined closely enough to reveal their potential. To an untrained eye, it looks like just another old nickel, but to an experienced collector, sharp steps can mean discovering a small fortune. The 1941 full steps Jefferson nickel stands as proof that rarity is not always about how many coins were made, but about how many survived with extraordinary detail. It reminds collectors that history, craftsmanship, and preservation together can turn an ordinary coin into a legendary treasure. So the next time you see a Jefferson nickel, don't dismiss it as ordinary pocket change. Behind that small 5-cent coin could be a story of history, rarity, and unimaginable value. As we've seen, tiny details like sharp steps, rare minting errors, and perfect preservation have turned simple nickels into treasures worth hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars. These coins remind us that fortune doesn't always come in gold bars or luxury assets. Sometimes it hides quietly in the smallest places. Across the world, collectors are still searching through old jars, inherited collections, and forgotten drawers, hoping to uncover the next legendary Jefferson nickel. And the most exciting part is that some of these rare coins are still out there, waiting to be found by someone with the right knowledge and a careful eye. That person could be you. If you enjoyed this journey into the world of valuable Jefferson nickels, make sure to like the video, share it with fellow collectors, and subscribe for more unbelievable coin stories that can change the way you look at money forever. Until next time, keep checking your change because history, mystery, and a life-changing fortune might be sitting right in your pocket.